Welcome to Bonesaw Poker. I'm Brad, and this is a week in the life of a recreational poker player. Let's get into it. All right, I'm going to record this while it's pretty fresh in my mind. A lot went on, and I don't have the best memory in the world. So, it's at the Tampa Hard Rock, and we're playing Live 1-2, and this dealer, she's been there as long as I've been playing there, and never had any issues with her before. I don't know. I guess everybody has an off day, I guess. But one of the problems we had is in the 3-seat, there was this old duffer who was having a problem with the 2-seat. Now, the 2-seat wasn't doing anything wrong. His name is Paul. He's regular down there. And he does a little banter and this and that. But the 3-seat, he gets mad anytime anybody raises pre because he just wants to play for the high hand. And then Paul bet him on the river on one hand. And he got all upset from that because he wanted to just check back and get to, realize his equity for no reason. And so he was slowing the game down a lot. We were having trouble getting hands dealt out. He wouldn't get his blinds out, and so on and so forth. You know what I'm talking about if you played any amount of Live 1-2. And so in one of the situations, so that's a little backstory. So before we get to that one, so there's this Eastern European guy in the 5-seat, and he's wearing a white t-shirt and spilled coffee all over it. That's something I would do. And then this lady sat down in the 1-seat. I think she table changed. She came over with like 2 greens and a handful of reds. And I haven't seen her before, but I'm not there constantly either, so who knows. So I think I was texting or doing something. I didn't catch all of this as it played out. So they get to the river, and the European guy is in the small blind. So it's heads up, and he's out of position. So he checks, and then that's when I start paying attention, and it gets over to the lady in the 1-seat, and she looks down at her card and she's thinking. All of a sudden, Euro throws out a $25 bet, and the 6-seat said, "You already checked." Dealer says, "You already checked," and the 1-seat, she's like in agreement. She's like, "Yeah, you already checked." He's like, "No, I didn't." The 6-seat was like, "Yeah, you did." And so then the dealer has kind of a lost look, and she's like, 25 to you, she says to the 1-seat. And so the 1-seat's like, and mucks her hand. And, 6-seat said, "This isn't right." And for whatever reason, we just went on to the next hand. And so normally down at the Hard Rock, the dealers are very good. That would never happen with 99% of the dealers down there. They'd be, she already said that you checked. They would enforce that, but she just let it slide. I don't get it. So then I was in the 7-seat. So the 8-seat was the button. This is a different hand. So the 8-seat's the button, and so he's in the hand and with 2 other people, and the dealer goes to grab his chips to scoop them up, and her hand hits the dealer button, and it kind of now is in front of me and him. It's right in between us. So I grab it, slide it back to him, and say to her, "He's the button." And she's like, "I know." I'm like, "Oh, okay." So then the hand finally ends, and it involved the 3-seat, old duffer, who constantly talking and not paying attention and everything else. So the hand finally gets done, and now I'm the button. I said, "This isn't right." And I look over at the 2-seat, who's regular there, Paul, and he was John with the 3-seat. So, and we're getting like one hand a century in here. And I'm like, "Paul, weren't you just the big blind?" And he looks at me, he's like, "I don't know, man." So the button goes back to him. I said, and I looked at, I said, "This isn't right." And the other end of the table is like, let's just go with it, whatever. I think there was like, we're already falling behind on hands per hour here. Let's just run with it. It's like, okay. Well, so then we move along with life on that. So then we get over there, and so Paul and the 3-seat get in a hand, and that's one where 3-seat's now all upset that he didn't get to check it down, and he's carrying on and this and that. So now he needs to post his big blind. Paul's in the 2-seat, and he's in the small blind. He's in the big blind, and so the dealer pitches out the cards, and they're both telling him you need to post, and he's not paying attention. He's John with Paul, and then he thinks he's under the gun, and so he mucks. And so then, like, Paul's like, no, you're big blind, and he grabs a pink $2 chip off of Old Duffer's stack, puts it there, and hands him his cards back. Now the guy in the 6th seat says, like, you can't do that. He already folded. And the dealer kind of just, she's not enforcing the rules here. It's kind of like any other dealer would have been on top of this. And so, the 6th seat and Paul are going back and forth, and Paul's like, look, we're just trying to get through this here. People make mistakes. Let's just try to get through this. So the 6th seat's like, fine, whatever. Okay. So it limps around, and so Paul completes in the small blind, and then Old Duffer just folds because he's probably figured whatever. So then he's still irritated with Paul, and he keeps talking with Paul, and Paul's like, what is your problem? None of this stuff is personal. Why are you taking it so personal? So he says, I'm done. I'm out. I quit. Like, okay. So then after the hand ends, he would now be the small blind, but he doesn't get up, and he doesn't post a small blind. So the dealer pitches the cards, and so he looks at his card, and it's like, we're like, he's not in. And she's like, oh, yeah. So we get the cards back, and he's still jawing with Paul, and so she pitches the cards out again and pitches him another card. We're like, what is going on here? So we misdeal again. It's like, this is insane. So she deals the next hand out, and the 6th seat tells Old Duffer like several times, you need to get up, you need to leave the table. The dealer should be saying this, but that's not what's happening. So we get through that hand. Now she moves the button in front of Old Duffer, who's out, and we're like, he's got to post, or he's got to wait a hand and post, whatever. And she doesn't hear us or pay attention or whatever, so she pitches him a card, and he's already said he's done, but then he looks at the card. We're like, okay, that's a misdeal. So we misdeal it, and she scoops the cards up. And it's like, this is bonkers. I mean, this is just off the rails. So now that she's getting tapped out, so the next dealer's behind her. Like, okay, maybe let's go a little bit better. Now, Paul gets up to go talk to somebody for some reason. I don't know why. So then Old Duffer's still sitting there. 3 of us tell the new dealer, he said he's quitting, he's not in. She's like, okay. We're like, cool. So of course she pitches him a card, and he looks at it. Misdeal. So now we're trying to get this all straightened out with the dealer, and so she calls the floor over, and Coffee Stain, he's explaining to the floor exactly what happened, and he got it spot on. Perfect. Explained it exactly how it happened. And so then he moves the button back to the 1 seat, puts a missed blind in front of Old Duffer, and then has the other 2 people be in the blinds. And we're like, no. It's got to be, isn't it a dead button on the 3 seat, the Old Duffer? Because otherwise somebody or both of them is going to be in the blinds 2 extra times. This is all one orbit. And so then they finally get that. They move the button to where it should be, and the blinds are posted. And we get to move on with life. And so then the 6th seat telling Old Duffer, you need to get off the table. So he finally gets off the table, and he's trying to plead his case that, Paul's instigating, and this is all Paul's fault. And Paul comes back to the table, and as Old Duffer's leaving, he's like, hey, what's going on? And we're like, oh my God, this is nuts. So then when I'm about to be the big blind, I said, you know what? I think I'm just going to call it. And so I said to the dealer, deal me out. So I grab my rack, and I start racking up. And the 6th seat says, whatever you do, make sure you do this as confusing as you can just to be consistent. I said, sure. Not intentionally, I pick up a stack of red and poof, they're all over the place. They're in my drink cup, they're on the table, they're on the floor. It's like, oh my God. So I scoop my stuff up and I say to her a couple more times, I'm out. And so I rack up and call it a day. I mean, it was just ridiculous. And like I say, it's really out of character for down there because most of the dealers have been there a long time and they have control of their table. She did not. The fact that she even told that guy, the Euro with the coffee stain, that he had checked, but then when he said no and then turned to the one seat and say, it's 25 to you. I mean, I don't know. Plus, I was hungry. I was tired. The Friday evening sessions, I just don't seem to last very long. So I don't know how worthwhile they are doing. Did end up $70, but $70 a nothing burger. So that was what happened. So for Bonesaw Poker, I'm Brad. Thanks for watching, and remember, everything you want is on the other side of fear.